So you have to really ask yourself, is it worth it or is it not worth it for you? So let's start with some of the pros of actually buying a property in London. As we all know, the London property value just keeps appreciating with time. So as the years pass, your property that you've bought it for is going to be worth so much more in the next 5 to 10 years. That's a fact, making it a solid lifetime investment. London has one of the strongest rental markets out there. If you ever do decide to rent out your property, London has a high rental demand. So that property is unlikely to be vacant for longer than 2 to 3 months, providing a really good income potential if you do decide to move to another city or even move abroad. London has world-class transport links, schools, healthcare, entertainment, and last but definitely not least, job opportunities. It's the main reason why so many people from abroad move to London is because of the job opportunities that it has to offer. Probably not as great as it was 10, 15 years ago, but it still is the hub of opportunities. And owning your own property, it avoids that feeling of feeling uneasy about whether the landlord's gonna increase the rental price or you being told that you need to move out within 6 months because the landlord wants to move back in or wants to sell his property. So owning your own property, it gives you a level of stability that you probably wouldn't always get if you're renting a property in London. For myself, I decided to buy this property that I'm currently in now because I really felt like I needed an anchor. My parents passed away when I was in my teens, so I never felt after that I had a home, essentially, a home that I knew I could come back to, and a home that I knew if any point I wanted to work abroad, there'd be somewhere for me to come back to. I have a base that I can call my own. So that's one of the reasons why I decided to buy a property in London. And not only just that, just think about wealth building. As you're paying into your mortgage, essentially you're investing into owning your own asset, which is your home. So people do always say there's no point giving your money to the landlord for rent. It's better off if you put money into a property, which you then can see the return of value for yourself. And then last but not least, for the pros of owning a property in London, you can customize it to however you want, however you see fit, and when you're ready to do so. So I actually moved into this property in 2011, but I didn't actually buy it until 2022. Number of reasons for that. I wasn't earning enough. I was just about able to make the rent at the time. I was just about able to buy food for the week at the time. So as I gradually progressed in my career journey, I got to the stage where I had saved up quite a lot of money, and I was thinking, okay, so I'm in this first floor Victorian building, falling apart, the walls are starting to crack, the radiators are just about hanging on the wall, the windows are single glazed shaft windows, it's very drafty. I can now buy somewhere else, get a new build, somewhere where I know that the insulation is going to be good and I'm not going to be freezing every winter. But then I also thought to myself, well, let's look at how much a one-bedroom flat is going for in the area that I live in. And then I looked at how much people are renting one-bedroom flats in the area that I live in. And I thought, oh, okay. Let's start thinking about this differently. And I worked out how much I would have to pay for this property, because there's many schemes also in London. If you are a first-time buyer, that would benefit you. Luckily, I was in this property which was owned by the council, so I had a right to buy. So I did get a bit of discount buying it, which is really, really, really good if you are in that if you are in that position to do so. But I worked out also how much the renovations were going to cost, you know, plastering the walls again, buying new radiators. I pretty much gutted every room from this living room to my kitchen, my bedroom, and now all that's left for me to do is to redo the bathroom and the hallway. Hopefully at some point I'll be able to give you guys a bit of a mini tour of this property and what the works that I've done to it and the estimates of how much those works cost essentially, and some hints and tips of what to look out for when you are renovating a property for the first time. Being able to customize your property to your liking, and for me it was more so about customizing it so that my property reflects where I am in life now, and doing it at a stage where I felt comfortable to do so. So yeah, you have that flexibility if you actually own the home. So let's look at the downsides of buying a property in London. London has some of the most expensive property prices in the UK. So you are gonna need quite a large deposit now because the prices are just ridiculous. It's actually making it really difficult for anyone to get onto the property ladder regardless of how much you're earning. And then there's the stamp duty cost that you need to think about. Buying a home in London comes with significant stamp duty costs. And again, especially for the higher priced properties out there. But as of today, the 9th of March 2025, first time buyers can benefit from stamp duty land tax relief. Currently, they don't have to pay any stamp duty up to 425,000k and a reduced rate on portions up to 425,000 to 625,000. But this is going to change soon. So from the 1st of April 2025, thresholds will change from 0% up to 300k and 5% from 300k to 500k. Anything above 500k, we're looking at standard stamp duty rates. And then you also need to think about the interest rate fluctuations. A lot of people I knew 2 years ago, they were stung really badly by how much the interest rates increased. So these are people who probably bought property or had a mortgage set in stone for about 5 years or maybe 2 years prior to that. I know some people who have had to rent out rooms, an extra room in their property just to make up their mortgage payments. Some mortgage payments increased dramatically and they're paying an extra £700 a month that they didn't pay prior. So you really need to think about that when you are buying a home. That's one element which is out of your control, and I do see that as a downside. Before I bought this property, the rates were at, I think it was 1.4%. And then my mortgage broker and solicitor, well, I blame them, but I also blame myself. They allowed for the mortgage offer to expire. I thought it was all in hand. This is the one thing whereby I kind of just gave the trust onto other people because I saw them as the experts, the subject experts in this matter. Never again. So I am now on a rate of 3.4 and I would have been on 1.4%. Do you know how much that burns me every month when I pay my mortgage and think to myself, I could have been pocketing about £400 every month, but instead it's going on to the mortgage because of the increase of interest rates. Honestly, I was so annoyed with myself and I was so annoyed with the broker because at the time when they had realized 2 days out of when the original mortgage offer had been extended for. So yeah, don't find yourself in that situation. Make sure you are all over it, regardless of which solicitor or mortgage broker that you use, because even if someone else has used them, at the end of the day, you're just another client on their portfolio that they need to work through. And then there's also such a competitive market at the moment. There's crazy bidding wars going on, and finding an area, a right location in London that suits you and your needs is very difficult. I'm fortunate enough to live between zone 2 and zone 3, so I'm not completely out there, but I'm not completely in the hustle or bustle in the heart of London. But I'm close enough to get to where I need to get to. So from where I live now, I can get to Oxford Street now within 25 minutes, which is pretty good by tube. And then there's also the sacrifice of moving to an area which isn't quite where you would like to live, but you can see the potential in the next 5 to 6 years, especially if they're putting a lot of funding into the area and regeneration. That is also another thing to think about, but a downside when you immediately move in. And then even though I was able to renovate this place to my liking, that now falls on me solely. If there's a leak, that falls on me solely as well. So you have to make sure you have your insurance plans in place. If the wall starts to crack, that falls on me again. So all of these little things that you need to add up in terms of maintenance costs over the years, do your maths on that, and then that will tell you if this is something that you can actually afford in the long run by yourself. And due to those ongoing maintenance costs, for some people, they're kind of shackled to their mortgage. They buy a property and then they're not able to go on holiday. They're just paying off their mortgage every month. And they feel as though they can't really live their life now because they're now having to work more to pay for their mortgage. And selling a property in London isn't as easy as you may think. People can be waiting over a year sometimes to sell a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom flat in London. So you need to really think about, is London somewhere where you can see yourself for the next 5 to 10 years? Because you're in it for the long run once you do buy a property in London. If you did want to get away, at some point you need to think about that carefully. And then there's the whole leasehold, freehold saga, whereby most flats in London is leasehold. You don't own the freehold. But there is a loophole around that. If a number of people in the property own, you could come together and buy out the freehold together. But the chance of that happening is slim, but the option is there. But yeah, it's a downside in terms of what you're able to do with the property. So I would say whatever you decide to do, there's no right or wrong answer here. It's solely subjective and what you think would work best for you in the long run. I've said it before and I'll say it again. There's a massive focus on owning property in the Western world. I don't know where it came from. I don't know where it started, but there are other ways to invest your money and see a return in the next 20 to 30 years. There's many things out there. If you just do a research and see where you can invest your money into for the next 20 to 30 years to get a good return of investment, there's many other options other than owning a property. But do I regret buying this flat that I live in at the moment? No, not at all. Not at all. If anything, it's making me strive to want to just earn more, so that mortgage payment doesn't hurt as much every month. And also, it's given me the freedom to do what I want to do with the place. And in addition, that has also generated other income for me by me renting the space out for filming and photography, etc. So whatever you decide to do, just make sure you do your research, do the maths, do the long-term maths, and see if it works for you. I'm no expert in this, but going through the process myself, I'm hoping I can help someone out there who's looking at the moment to buy in London. So if you enjoyed any of this, feel free to subscribe. I come on here every Monday just talking about regular topics. If anything here resonated with you, put your opinion down in a comment and it'd be great to have a dialogue and discussion. Take care, bye for now.